Hey guys, I'm really excited for today's video. I'm going to show you how to crack PSA slabs. Let's jump right into it. All right, there is a number of reasons you would want to crack a PSA slab. Could be that you got a slab that you either bought or that you got back from PSA and you just feel like the grade was just too harsh and you want to crack it, resubmit it. People do that a lot of times. Or you might buy a cheap, like say PSA 6, 7, or 8 and want to crack it and just use it as a binder copy for your collection. That can be a really great way to go too. So this is a card that I think I missed a small scratch on the front, unfortunately, and so it got an 8, which is a bummer, but I'm just going to crack it because it's really not worth much in an 8, and I think it'll just do a lot better as a near mint card, essentially. I also got here my Zapdos SIR, which I really thought was probably going to get a 9, and sure enough it did. It's just too off center. I've got my Venusaur EX. I knew this one wouldn't get, I was kind of hope it wouldn't get a 10. I was hoping it would get a 9, but it got an 8. So I'm just going to crack it and put it in the binder as well. And then I really have no idea why this beautiful versus Japanese Rainbow Energy with the swirl got a 9 and not a 10. I think it might be the rear centering, but the rear centering only has to be 70-30. So kind of not sure about that one. We'll probably just crack a couple of these. We'll see how it goes. I might crack all of them, but I would recommend, if this is your first time doing it, you start with a slab that you're not really that attached to. Maybe start with a cheaper one. Maybe even just buy a cheap slab to practice on. What you're gonna need is a couple screwdrivers. This is kind of my preferred size, but I've also got another bigger one. These kind of bigger ones can be nice because you can get a little bit more twisting leverage, which I'll show you what I mean by that. I've got pliers here. Oh, sorry, it's snagging on my stuff. I've got these pliers here. Some people like to use cutters. I think the pliers work really well. I'll show you what I mean by that as well. And then it's always good just to have a small little screwdriver with a small head in case you need to pry into an area that's, that requires like a small, fine head, if that makes sense. If I can get this to focus, there we go. So I also recommend that you use a Ziploc bag, especially at the beginning where we are getting this whole thing started. There is definitely the possibility of sending shards flying around in the room. So we want to kind of protect ourselves from that and just make it easier to clean up. This might be a little bit tricky for me to do because I'm not used to doing this while I am behind the microphone and with the camera in front of me. It makes it a little bit trickier, but we're going to do my best here. So let me pull this back out and just show you how we're going to kind of start this. The idea is we're going to get kind of a corner here. Now this whole section up here is sectioned off from the card. You'll notice that there's this line right here that protects this card from this upper area where they apply the label. So what we're going to do is we're going to break off this top corner and use that as our start. So here we go. We're going to put this in our bag. I'll kind of hold the slab right there, and I'm just going to put a little bit of twisting motion, and we'll twist back and forth. And there we go. Broke it right off. So it is a little bit, a little violent. Don't go too crazy. Kind of take your time. Go a little back and forth, back and forth. Snap that sucker off. Okay. Now we can pull that out here. I'm going to grab, all right, ta-da. I've got a microfiber cloth here. It's always great to have your surfaces just be something nice and soft so that if you do need to like dump your card out or something like that, you can dump it on something soft. So now we can see here that the label is showing. We've cracked it off. And what we're going to try to do is we're going to get in here. We're going to put our screwdriver in this top area, and we're going to use some twisting motion to kind of break free this top area. And then hopefully what that will do is break this part down as well. Because you'll notice the screwdriver starts thin here and then it gets larger. And so as this jams in farther, it's going to put more pressure to separate the PSA slab on this side. And then what we'll end up doing is we'll end up going down this slide very carefully and getting the card off. So let's go ahead and do it. Might as well stop talking about it.
All right, enough chit chat.
And let's just break into it. So you notice there I got the screwdriver started. I'm going in. I can kind of twist. You can hear that creaking. I've already broken free part of the seal there. So I'll go in a little farther. I'm twisting as I go. And go slow, guys. Just take your time on all this stuff. You know, you don't want to damage a card. Okay. So there we go. We got the top mostly. There we go. We got the top pretty much completely cracked free. You can see that there. So that's good. You can pull the label out now if you want. I'll just go ahead and pull this out, get the label out of the way. Now what we want to do is we want to go down the side of the card here. And again, I can't stress enough, let's take our time doing this here. This is where it could be useful just to have a couple of screwdrivers, so you can have one that's like this bigger one that you can get a lot of twisting leverage, or you can just kind of jam it in here and it will hold its place. And then you can start getting your other screwdriver in below it. Let me reposition that like that. Okay, so once I can get this screwdriver under this edge here, you've got to be very careful at this point, okay? Because this is where a lot of people mess up and they'll damage the card. If this screwdriver flies in here at all, you're going to screw up your card, and you really don't want to do that, right? Like the goal is to get this card out in the exact same condition that it went in. So this is where we need to be very slow and methodical. And what you can do is, as we move this screwdriver down the edge here, I'm going to actually use my left hand to kind of steady the screwdriver. Does that make sense? And I'll use my right to do a twisting motion. With my right, I'm going to pull the screwdriver down this way, but I'm going to use my left to kind of control it. Does that make sense? So that way, because my right is going to have all the strength, but my left is going to have the finesse, so to speak. So we're going to start going down here. So right here, I'm just kind of pulling it along very, very slowly. And it helps too. My screwdrivers actually have like these notches in them. These are Craftsman, I believe. There's these like kind of notches, rough texture, if you will. And that actually helps it kind of in some way stay in the groove. So we're going to pull this down a little bit more, and then we'll twist. You can hear the cracking. It's cracking through more of the case, so twist. Now we're going to move it down a little bit further. And actually this time I'm just going to go ahead and use my right hand. Twist. Twist. Now this is a part that's going to be a little hard to explain, but my left thumb is going to start to end up being kind of like a doorstop for the case. So the case is going to fold open, and I'm going to stick my thumb, like the fleshy part of my thumb, kind of between the case to kind of help hold it in place, so that as I move down, I'm not losing the ground that I just gained, if that makes sense. So I'm going to, at this point, I can probably take this other screwdriver out. We'll twist a little bit here. We're going to move it down a little bit further. Again, I'm using, I just lost it, and that's okay. Sometimes that happens. You just got to stick this screwdriver back in, and you can stick your thumb in here and kind of get it started again, and take your time. Move this screwdriver back down here, back down here, back down here. Now there's people that can crack these faster. I prefer this slow, methodical approach. Just, I don't want to damage anything. And I would rather, I'm not trying to crack a whole bunch of cards quickly. I'm trying to show you guys how to crack them without damaging your card. So there we go. We're getting a little bit further now. We can twist. So we need to move this a little bit further down. Right there, you can see I'm controlling that slide. I'm doing it very slowly. Move it a little bit further. Oh, that was actually a little bit more of a slip than I wanted. Just a little bit further down. Twist again. Notice we're using the twisting motion. We're not prying up or down with the screwdriver. We're just using the twisting motion. A little bit further, twist. There we go. We cracked another spot. We can move this a little further down. You get the idea. We're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over. There we go. You can see that coming off. And now that we're getting down to the edge here, this bottom is starting to break free really well. And again, I don't have my screwdriver very far into this because I don't need it. And then now we can go down the bottom edge here. We just transition to the bottom edge, twist, go down a little bit further, twist. You have a little more room to work with down here. So I'm going a little bit faster. And now I can get my fingers underneath this side. So I'm actually sticking all of my fingers partly in, like the fleshy parts, to hold it into place, which is letting me move this screwdriver quicker too. And, oh, there we go. I almost slipped in there. That was a little bit, maybe a little bit too fast there. Okay, now at this point, I can basically do it by hand. So be very careful. So you can see I pulled it away. And there is our card. I would recommend actually touching the center this time, just so that as it falls out, there's that. Now notice there's a little bit of like debris, so I'll usually just blow that off. Sometimes you don't get debris, but occasionally you do, so it just depends. And there you go. The card came out just great. There's a tiny bit more debris there. Just blow that off nicely. But yeah, we're good. Good to go. Good to go. And then we'll do another slab here, because I think it's worth showing twice. And sometimes the slabs crack a little different, so they don't behave quite as well. All right, I'm going to do the Zapdos EX next. So this is a card I pulled a long time ago from, I think it was either a UPC or a 151 ETB, way back when 151 first came out. And I think I was like, I'll send it in, I'll grade it because I pulled it. I was like, now I really would just rather have it in my binder. I shouldn't have sent it, but it's okay. It is what it is. Sometimes you just, change your mind about things. And again, I thought it had an extremely low shot of getting a 10. Sure enough, it got a 9. So here we go again. We're going to break this again. I'm going to grab it kind of close up here. Snap back and forth. There we go. There we go. Just go back and forth, back and forth. Now this one didn't break quite as well because you'll notice it went all the way down into here, which is not as great. I admit that's not what we wanted. So this is good. This will be this will be good for showing that things don't always go well.
But my life is good. Really good.
So sometimes you just kind of have to problem solve on the fly. Now, some people like to use, like I said, those cutters. The problem I was having with the cutters, though, is it was really smashing the top in, and it was making it really hard to get the, like this part right here would get just completely smushed in together. And so it'd be hard to get the screwdriver in. But that might be a better approach. So again, we kind of tore off this edge here, which we didn't really want to do, but I think we can make it work here. So let's start with our small screwdriver, and then we'll use that big one as our holder here in a second. Okay, so we're going to go in here. We're going to just twist. Remember, we're taking our time. We're going in a little further or twist. Notice all my shoving is happening up here in the label area where I can't damage the card. You don't want to ever be shoving into the card. So we'll get that crack. Okay, I got the whole top off. Now, unfortunately, the top cracked here. I don't love when that happens, but it's okay. We don't want to go too extreme. Let's add our bigger screwdriver in here just to kind of hold our place. Now let's see if we can get this guy under this little broken ledge. We can, so we're good. And we're going to very carefully slide this down. So slide it down. Twist, slide it down, twist, slide it down and twist, slide it down. Again, I'm using the grooves in the screwdriver themselves, which is very helpful. And I'm going really slow, and I'm using both hands to kind of control it. I'm using this thumb to kind of stop it as well. I'm going to get this one out of the way because it's kind of just becoming more a pain than anything at this point. So we can twist, pull it down a little bit, twist, pull it down a little bit, twist, Pull it down just a tiny bit. Twist. Pull down. Twist. Okay, this is where sometimes, there we go. Sometimes you just gotta like sit there and twist a bit until you get that next crack. And so if you take your time, guys, you're gonna be fine. There we go. We cracked that whole entire bottom off, which is good. Go all the way down here. Sometimes when you do that, you can just pull the whole entire top off. But again, keeping with the theme. Oops, we lost our place because I forgot to shove my fingers in it. I can actually, yeah, keeping with the theme that we usually like to go a little slow. We're gonna go ahead, there we go, and go down this bottom part here. Now I will say this may not be for everyone. Some people, if the tool of choice for every project for you is a hammer, then this might not be something that you want to do. There we go. So we pulled the top off there. You can see it's all jacked up. And then again, I'm going to stick my finger in the center of this as I flip it over so that the card doesn't, I don't want the card sliding over any of these edges and getting screwed up. So this is a case where you actually do want to touch it with your fingers. Usually I don't. And that's beautiful. Let me blow it off. Yeah, now that I see this card in person, I'm like, why did I ever send this? Again, I think I got emotional because I pulled it, but it's definitely not a PSA 10 quality card at all. Not even close. Even like some of the edges are a little bit rough too. So, but there we go. So we effectively cracked 2 slabs, guys. I hope that was really helpful for you. I think it's a little daunting when you're doing this for the first time. Definitely take your time, go slow. If you, like I said, if you're the type of person where every job uses a hammer and you just like to smash stuff and you're not very good at being slow, methodical, and precise, then maybe you don't want to do this. You might want to let somebody else do it. See if you can find a friend who's really careful or whatever. But this method's worked well for me. I wish I could give credit to who I found it from. I feel like it might be a combination of other people's ideas and methods that I sort of pulled together. I don't know, but this is how I've been cracking slabs. Anyway, I hope this was helpful for you today. If you liked this video, please give it a like. Please leave a comment letting me know if you have a special method for the way you crack slabs, or if this was helpful for you at all. And I would love it if you'd subscribe to my channel. I'll have a lot more videos coming, hopefully helpful videos like this one. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll catch you later.